proud journey from Nairobi to London. As Wambui navigated the challenges of single motherhood in Nairobi, her journey was filled with unexpected twists and turns that tested her resilience and strength. Wambui's aspirations for furthering her education took a backseat when she met Pat, a charming young man, at a party. Their encounter led to an unintended pregnancy, derailing her plans in an instant. Despite Pat being a university student himself, Wambui realized that marriage was not the path she was ready to embark on, bringing a sense of relief amidst the chaos of unexpected parenthood. From the moment she discovered she was pregnant, Wambui faced a daunting reality. Young and naive, she found herself thrust into adulthood with little preparation. Her trusting nature, a quality once admired, became a vulnerability as she encountered people eager to take advantage of her innocence. Living in Kenya as a single mother brought its own set of obstacles, especially as she raised her son Mwangi in a society where traditional gender roles often dictated expectations. Young men shied away from the prospect of getting involved with a single mother, viewing it as a complication they were ill-equipped to handle, especially if the child happened to be a boy. Hoping that Pat would play a role in their son's life, Wambui was met with disappointment when he reacted poorly to the news of impending fatherhood. Later, she understood the reasons behind his reaction, but the hurt lingered as she faced the prospect of her son growing up without knowing his father. Putting her dreams of further education on hold, Wambui prioritized her son's well-being, dedicating herself wholeheartedly to raising Mwangi. Despite the setbacks and heartaches, she found strength in the bond she shared with her son, knowing that their journey together would be filled with love, laughter, and the occasional hiccup along the way. As Wambui embarked on her adventure to the UK for further studies, her excitement was palpable, but so was her longing for her son, Mwangi. Just 2 days into her London escapade, her separation anxiety kicked in like a turbocharged espresso machine. Aunt Kathy, ever the astute observer of human emotions, quickly sensed the impending disaster. "Good grief, Wambui," she exclaimed, "you're looking more gloomy than a British summer's day. We can't have you sinking into a pit of despair faster than the Titanic." Wambui, clutching a cup of tea like a lifeline, replied with a woeful sigh, "I miss Mwangi terribly, Auntie. It's like trying to enjoy a safari without spotting any lions." Aunt Kath nodded sympathetically, "Fear not, my dear. We'll summon Mwangi faster than you can say fish and chips. We wouldn't want you turning into a melancholic mess faster than you can say spot of tea." True to her word, Wambui's aunt swiftly concocted a plan that would make even Sherlock Holmes proud. 3 weeks later, Mwangi was whisked away from the Kenyan savannah to the bustling streets of London, much to his mother's delight. As Mwangi bounded into her arms, Wambui exclaimed, "Oh, Mwangi, you're like the missing piece to my jigsaw puzzle of happiness. Without you, I felt as lost as a tourist without a map in Piccadilly Circus." Her aunt chuckled, "Well, Wambui, it seems we've averted the Great London Meltdown of 1993. Now, let's conquer these cobblestone streets together, armed with nothing but a good sense of humor and a hearty appetite for adventure." And with Mwangi by her side, Wambui embraced her studies in the UK with newfound vigor, knowing that laughter and love would always be her trusty companions, no matter how far from home she roamed. As Wambui juggled the demands of work, study, and motherhood, her cousins Wairimu and Maina were like her very own squad of superheroes, swooping in to save the day whenever she needed them. They were the dynamic duo to her Lone Ranger, the peanut butter to her jelly, and the caffeine to her morning coffee, always there to lend a hand, or two, or three if necessary. But even with her trusty cousins by her side, Wambui found herself caught in a whirlwind of chaos and confusion. As she scrubbed floors and dusted shelves as a cleaner, her mind was constantly spinning like a washing machine stuck on the spin cycle. And Mwangi, bless his little heart, navigated the treacherous waters of early childhood education his Aunt Wairimu and Uncle Maina when Wambui was in college. With his grandma as his first teacher, Mwangi had started off as a little Einstein in the making. At just 3.5, he could count to 10 faster than a cheetah chasing its prey, scribble his name with the finesse of a seasoned calligrapher, and recite his ABCs with the confidence of a spelling bee champion. Not to mention, he could switch between languages English, Kikuyu, and Swahili like a linguistic gymnast, leaving even the most seasoned polyglots in awe. But as the months passed, Wangi's once sharp mind began to dull, like a freshly sharpened pencil slowly losing its point. With Wambui stretched thin as a slice of toast with too much butter, Wangi's education took a back seat, his numbers and letters slipping through the cracks faster than a greased pig at a county fair. And so, faced with the heartbreaking reality of her son's faltering education, Wambui made the ultimate sacrifice, like a knight surrendering his sword for the sake of his kingdom. With a heavy heart and a determined spirit, she bid farewell to her dreams of higher education, choosing instead to devote herself fully to the most important lesson of all, being the best mother she could be. Wambui, the queen of multitasking. Armed with her trusty plastic bag containing her secret weapon, a sleek skirt suit that screamed professionalism louder than a lion's roar, she was ready to conquer the corporate world, after domestic cleaning. Picture this, Wambui, adorned in her cleaning gear, maneuvering through the rooms with the finesse of a ninja, armed not with throwing stars, but with a mop and bucket. But beneath that apron lay the heart of an office PA, beating with the rhythm of ambition and determination. As she meticulously scrubbed and polished, Wambui's mind was already plotting her next move. With a quick change into her skirt suit, transforming faster than Superman in a phone booth, she was off to register with job agencies, ready to dazzle potential employers with her administrative prowess. But oh, the irony. Here was Wambui, cleaning up messes left and right, both literal and metaphorical, while secretly dreaming of a desk piled high with paperwork and a phone ringing off the hook. It was a comedy of errors, a tale of a woman straddling two worlds like a tightrope walker without a safety net. And yet, amidst the chaos and the laughter, there was a glimmer of hope. For Wambui was not just a cleaner with dreams of a corner office, she was a force to be reckoned with, a woman on a mission to prove that even the most unlikely heroines could rise to the top, one polished floor and one perfectly typed memo at a time. The Tale of Wambui and George, a modern-day romantic comedy filled with twists, turns, and the occasional missing sock. It all began innocently enough, with Wambui enjoying her first Christmas in the UK, surrounded by the twinkling lights of London and the promise of new beginnings. Little did she know, her festive season was about to get a whole lot merrier with the arrival of a certain George. Now, George may have been a trained chef by trade, but fate had other plans for him, a porter by day, and apparently, a stealthy house guest by night. It started innocently enough, with a stray sock here, a forgotten toothbrush there. But before Wambui knew it, George had become a permanent fixture in her home, like a stray cat who had adopted her porch as his own personal kingdom. As Wambui diligently paid the bills and rent, George's idea of contributing to their domestic bliss amounted to a mere £100, a sum about as substantial as a sprinkle of salt on a gourmet dish. And let's not even get started on his phone bill, which seemed to grow faster than a chia pet on steroids, thanks to his frequent calls to Kenya. But despite the mounting expenses and the not-so-subtle invasion of her personal space, Wambui couldn't help but find humor in the absurdity of it all. Here she was, living out her own version of a sitcom, with George as the hapless sidekick who couldn't quite grasp the concept of boundaries or budgeting. And yet, through it all, Wambui couldn't deny the warmth in her heart, the laughter in her soul, and the feeling that maybe, just maybe, this unexpected chapter in her life was all part of a grander, comedic plan written by the universe itself. The Saga of Wambui and George, a tale as tumultuous as a roller coaster ride through a hurricane. As Wambui embarked on her exciting new role in the mental health department, her boyfriend George's skepticism hung over her like a cloud on a picnic day. With every snide remark about her career prospects, George seemed determined to rain on her parade, but Wambui was as resilient as a rubber ducky in a storm drain. Undeterred by George's naysaying, Wambui strutted into her first day of work with the confidence of a peacock in a pride parade, ready to conquer the office world one spreadsheet at a time. But little did she know, her home life was about to turn into a sitcom-worthy farce. Returning home after a long day of mental health heroics, Wambui was greeted not by the comforting embrace of her couch, but by the sight of George sprawled out like a sloth after a night of heavy drinking. With her son Wangi in tow, Wambui quickly sprang into action, whisking him away to spare him from witnessing the spectacle of the drunken sloth. Determined to rid her home of this boozy invader, Wambui reached for her phone like a knight reaching for her trusty sword, dialing up George's friend faster than a speed-dialing champion. With a few words exchanged, a rescue mission was underway, leaving George's fate in the hands of a friend with a sober conscience. And as George's friend swooped in like a gallant knight on a noble steed, whisking him away to sobriety and safety, Wambui couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. For in the midst of chaos and confusion, she had found her own inner superhero, a woman on a mission, armed with wit, resilience, and the occasional well-timed phone call. Oh, the tangled web we weave when dealing with drunk boyfriends and borrowed bin bags. Wambui's saga with George took a turn for the ludicrous, as their relationship careened down a slippery slope faster than a penguin on an ice rink. With George spending a sleepover at his friend's house, Wambui thought she had a temporary reprieve from his antics. Little did she know, she was merely stepping into the eye of the storm, with a tsunami of disrespect and nonsense looming on the horizon. As George's behavior worsened, testing Wambui's patience like a toddler testing the structural integrity of a Lego tower, she decided enough was enough. Armed with the determination of a mama bear protecting her cub and the strategic prowess of a chess grandmaster, Wambui orchestrated Operation Eviction with military precision. While George snoozed again away his afternoon in the comforting embrace of his friend's couch, Wambui sprang into action like a domestic ninja, gathering his belongings faster than a squirrel gathering acorns for winter. And when George returned home, expecting nothing more than a quick change of clothes before his late-night shift, he was met with a sight that would make even the bravest of men quiver in their boots, his prized possessions piled high like a mountain of shame at the door. But as George stood there, stunned and speechless, Wambui remained the picture of calm, her serene demeanor belying the storm brewing beneath the surface. With a simple request for her house keys and a firm command to take his stuff and leave, Wambui sent George packing faster than a contestant on a reality TV show. And as George slunk away to retrieve his belongings in borrowed bin bags from the local Iranian restaurant, Wambui couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. For in the game of love and eviction notices, she was the undisputed champion, armed with nothing but wit, determination, and a healthy dose of humor to see her through. Ah! The sweet taste of revenge served with a side of British politeness. Wambui wasn't about to let George get away with dodging his responsibilities, not on her watch. Armed with nothing but a telephone bill and a cunning plan, she set out to teach him a lesson he wouldn't soon forget. When the dreaded telephone bill arrived, Wambui could hardly believe her eyes, pound 568 owed, and George had the audacity to brush it off like a speck of dust on his shoulder. But Wambui wasn't about to let this slide. Oh no. She was ready to unleash her inner Sherlock Holmes and crack the case of the missing payment. With a twinkle in her eye and a devious grin on her face, Wambui enlisted the help of her trusty cousin Wairamu to execute her master plan. Staging a sit-in at George's workplace, they were like a pair of peaceful protesters with a bone to pick and a bill to collect. As they calmly sat in the lobby, sipping tea and nibbling on biscuits, George's boss scrambled to defuse the situation, promising to get to the bottom of it faster than you can say, fish and chips. But Wambui wasn't backing down. Oh no. She was in it for the long haul, determined to see justice served on a silver platter. After hours of waiting, even the hotel manager was drawn into the fray, his finely tailored suit no match for Wambui's steely resolve. And when the moment of truth finally arrived, and a check was produced like a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat, Wambui's victory was complete. But she wasn't about to gloat. Oh no. Wambui simply thanked them for their cooperation and politely instructed the hotel manager to make the check out to BT, like a queen bestowing her subjects with benevolence. And with that, justice was served, the bill was paid, and George learned a valuable lesson, that you should never mess with a quiet woman armed with a plan and a penchant for British bureaucracy. The cherry on top of the revenge sundae. After staging a sit-in worthy of a Netflix drama, Wambui and Wairamu weren't about to leave anything to chance. With their heads held high and their spirits soaring like a flock of liberated birds, they marched straight to the BT shop to settle the score once and for all. Picture this, Wambui, clutching the dreaded telephone bill like a prized trophy, strutting into the shop with the swagger of a triumphant gladiator returning from battle. and Wairamu, by her side, radiating the kind of confidence usually reserved for celebrities on the red carpet. As they approached the cashier, Wambui couldn't help but revel in the absurdity of it all, the fact that they had just spent hours orchestrating a sit-in at George's workplace, only to turn around and pay the bill themselves. It was like something out of a sitcom, with Wambui and Wairamu playing the role of the mischievous protagonists in a hilarious comedy of errors. But as they handed over the payment, Wambui couldn't suppress a mischievous grin. Oh, the sweet satisfaction of having the last laugh. And as the cashier processed the transaction, Wambui couldn't resist a playful wink and a nod to Wairamu, sharing a moment of triumph that would go down in the annals of their shared history. For Wambui, it wasn't just about settling the bill, it was about reclaiming her power, proving once and for all that she was nobody's fool. And as they exited the BT shop, their heads held high and their hearts light with victory, Wambui couldn't help but feel a sense of pride wash over her like a wave of accomplishment. After all, who needs revenge when you have the satisfaction of outsmarting your adversaries and emerging victorious? And as they walked off into the sunset, laughing like a pair of merry pranksters, Wambui knew that no matter what life threw her way, she would always have her sense of humor and her loyal cousin by her side. The joys of being single, a never-ending parade of self-discovery and Netflix binges. After the George debacle, Wambui decided that the dating pool was about as appealing as a puddle of lukewarm tea. And who could blame her? With George's shenanigans still fresh in her mind, the last thing she needed was another man complicating her life. But little did Wambui know, George had been spreading rumors faster than a gossiping parrot in a pet store, painting her as a hopeless case destined for eternal single dom. Oh, the audacity. While Wambui was busy conquering the world with her wit and charm, George was busy concocting tall tales about her love life, or lack thereof. But if there's one thing Wambui knows how to do, it's laugh in the face of adversity. With a twinkle in her eye and a bounce in her step, she brushed off George's feeble attempts to tarnish her reputation like a cat swatting away a pesky fly. After all, who needs a man when you have box office movies, chocolate, and a fabulous group of girlfriends? As Wambui embraced her newfound singlehood with gusto, she couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. Who knew that a drunken couch potato could be the catalyst for her liberation? And as she sipped her tea and watched a movie on TV, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in her resilience. Yes, let's take a moment to delve deeper into the whimsical world of Wambui, the unsuspecting heroine of our comedic tale. From her humble beginnings as a naive young mother to her triumphant rise as the undisputed champion of single mom shenanigans, Wambui's journey has been nothing short of a laugh riot. Picture this, Wambui, armed with nothing but her trusty suitcase and a penchant for getting herself into hilarious predicaments, embarks on a quest for love, laughter, and maybe just a touch of chaos. Along the way, she encounters a cast of characters straight out of a sitcom, George, the aspiring couch potato with a penchant for overstaying his welcome. But fear not, dear reader, for Wambui is no damsel in distress, she's the master of her own destiny, the captain of her own ship, and the undisputed queen of turning life's lemons into lemon meringue pie. With her quick wit, sharp tongue, and an arsenal of one-liners sharper than a knife in a comedy club, Wambui tackles each absurd situation with grace, style, and just a hint of sass. And as we bid farewell to our beloved heroine, we can't help but chuckle at the thought of the countless misadventures, mishaps, and mayhem that await her on the horizon. So here's to Wambui, the unsung hero of hilarity, the maestro of mirth, and the undisputed queen of comedy. May her laughter ring out loud and clear, echoing through the halls of comedy history for years to come. Cheers to Wambui, the comedic legend in the making. Wambui and Elsie, the dynamic duo of Nairobi, the unstoppable force of sisterhood. Picture this, Wambui, the older sister with all the wisdom of a wise old owl, and Elsie, the younger sister with the ferocity of a lioness and the protectiveness of a mama bear. Elsie, with her lioness-like instincts, stood guard over Wambui like a fierce protector, ready to pounce on anyone who dared to mess with her big sister. She was like a one-woman army, a Maasai warrior in high heels, ready to defend her family at a moment's notice. And Wambui, with her quiet strength and unwavering determination, leaned on Elsie like a baby elephant leaning on its mother for support. Together, they were an unstoppable force, a dynamic duo that could take on the world with nothing but their wit and a healthy dose of sibling banter. Elsie wasn't just a sister to Wambui, she was a second mother to Mwangi, a mentor, a confidant, and a partner in crime. With Elsie by her side, Wambui knew she could conquer anything, from the trials of single motherhood to the challenges of starting her own business. So here's to Wambui and Elsie, the inseparable sisters whose bond was stronger than steel and whose love knew no bounds. With Elsie's lioness-like protection and Wambui's quiet resilience, they were a force to be reckoned with, a comedic duo that could give even the most seasoned stand-up comedians a run for their money. Cheers to Wambui and Elsie, the ultimate sister act of United Kingdom. Wambui's family support network stretched all the way to Kenya, where her youngest sister Wangeshi and her dear mother held down the fort with love, laughter, and the occasional care package that could rival Santa's sleigh in size. Picture this, Wangeshi, the youngest sister with a heart of gold and a knack for finding the perfect gift, scouring the markets of Nairobi for treasures to send across the seas to her beloved sisters in London. From handmade crafts to exotic delicacies, each package was a delightful surprise, eagerly awaited by Wambui and her crew like kids waiting for the ice cream truck on a hot summer's day. And then there was dear old Mum, the matriarch of the family, with her wisdom, her warmth, and her uncanny ability to send exactly what Wambui needed, whether it was a batch of chapati and ugali flour to soothe her soul or a bundle of sage advice to navigate the murky waters of single parenthood. Together, Wangeshi and Mum formed a formidable tag team, sending love and support across continents with the precision of a well-aimed boomerang. With every package that arrived on Wambui's doorstep, she felt the warm embrace of her family, even from thousands of miles away. So here's to Wangeshi, Mum, and the power of care packages sent with love and laughter. With their support, Wambui knew she could weather any storm, conquer any challenge, and laugh in the face of adversity. After all, who needs superheroes when you've got sisters and mothers like these? Cheers to the unsung heroes of Wambui's life, bringing joy and laughter across borders one care package at a time. Maina, the unsung hero in Wambui's chaotic comedy of life. With all the charm of a caffeinated cheetah and the wisdom of a slightly singed owl, Maina was more than just a cousin, he was a comedic sidekick, a partner in crime, and a reluctant soccer coach to young Mwangi. Picture this, Maina, with his very well-kept hair and a perpetual twinkle in his eye, swooping in like a superhero in a Hawaiian shirt to save the day. Whether it was picking up Mwangi from school or engaging in epic battles of backyard football, Maina was always there, armed with a cheesy joke and an endless supply of snacks and Power Ranger stickers. And let's not forget Wairimu, the other half of this dynamic duo, a force to be reckoned with in her own right. With her infectious laughter and no-nonsense attitude, Wairimu, her cousin, Maina's sister, was the perfect partner in crime for Maina, helping to keep Wambui's chaotic household running like a well-oiled comedy machine. Together, this ragtag team of cousins turned everyday tasks into epic adventures, transforming mundane moments into laugh-out-loud comedy gold. From impromptu dance parties in the living room to epic soccer matches in the backyard, there was never a dull moment when Maina and Wairimu were around. So here's to Maina and Wairimu, the comedic dream team of Northwest London. With their boundless energy, unwavering support, and penchant for turning even the most mundane moments into memorable escapades, they were the true unsung heroes of Wambui's chaotic comedy of life. Cheers to Maina and Wairimu, the dynamic duo we never knew we needed. For Wambui, being a single mom with a boy was not a curse, it was a badge of honor, a testament to her strength and independence. And as she navigated the murky waters of dating in the modern world, she did so with a smile on her face and a sparkle in her eye, knowing that no matter what the future held, she would always be the hero of her own story. Well, look who's turning cleaning into a cash cow. Wambui, the entrepreneurial powerhouse, decided to shake things up like a Polaroid picture and start her own cleaning company in Leeds. Armed with nothing but £800 and a dream, she was about to give Mr. Clean a run for his money. But Wambui wasn't content with just scrubbing floors and wiping windows. Oh no. She had bigger plans than a mop in a janitor's closet. Enter Doug, the young Caucasian man with a smile as bright as a freshly polished mirror. With his help, Wambui's cleaning empire was about to reach new heights, one shiny surface at a time. And as the business boomed faster than a confetti cannon at a birthday party, Wambui found herself swimming in contracts like Scrooge McDuck in a pool of gold coins. But she wasn't about to let success go to her head.
Oh no.
Wambui knew that with great power comes great responsibility, or in her case, a need for strategic business decisions. So, like a savvy entrepreneur with her finger on the pulse of the cleaning industry, Wambui decided to sell off some contracts to prevent her business from growing faster than a weed in a well-fertilized garden. After all, she wasn't about to let her empire collapse like a house of cards built on shaky ground. And as the years rolled by, Wambui found herself at the helm of a cleaning empire with 48 contracts and 63 staff, her success a testament to her tenacity, wit, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned elbow grease. So here's to Wambui, the queen of clean, turning mobs into money and proving that with a little determination and a lot of soap, anything is possible. Well, it seems Doug's grand entrance into Wambui's life was about as welcome as a porcupine at a balloon party. Just when she thought she had found her knight in shining armor, he turned out to be more like a jester in tarnished tin foil. As the bombshells dropped faster than confetti on New Year's Eve, Wambui found herself in a whirlwind of betrayal and disbelief. Not only was Doug gallivanting with her staff like a fox in a henhouse, but he had the audacity to spew racist nonsense faster than a malfunctioning popcorn machine at the cinema. But Wambui wasn't about to let Doug's bigotry rain on her parade, not when she had an exit plan brewing like a pot of coffee on a Monday morning. With the calmness of a Zen master and the strategic cunning of a chess grandmaster, she set her sights on one thing, getting the heck out of Dodge before Doug could even say, "I'm sorry." So, like a ninja in the night, Wambui orchestrated her escape plan with the precision of a Swiss watchmaker. While Doug was out gallivanting on site, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing back at headquarters, Wambui was already making moves to put her business up for sale faster than a hotcake at a pancake festival. And as she dialed up agents faster than a speed-dialing champion, she couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. After all, who needs drama when you have a business to sell and a future to build? And as the sales staff remained blissfully unaware of the chaos unfolding behind the scenes, Wambui knew that she was one step closer to freedom, one sale at a time.
Ah.
The sweet taste of victory. With her business sold faster than a hotcake at a breakfast buffet, Wambui found herself basking in the glow of success like a cat lounging in a sunbeam. And as she sealed the deal with the bigger company looking to gobble up the competition, she couldn't help but marvel at the irony of it all. Here she was, a single mom turned cleaning mogul, making deals with bigwigs and wheeling and dealing like a seasoned entrepreneur. And as she negotiated the terms of the sale with the finesse of a master negotiator, she couldn't resist throwing in a little cherry on top of the cake. "You want a discount?" she said with a twinkle in her eye. "Well, how about this? You keep my existing staff for at least 24 months, and then give them a jolly good 3 months notice if you decide to let them go. Deal?" The bigger company, with pound signs dancing in their eyes, couldn't resist the offer. After all, who wouldn't want to inherit a team of seasoned professionals who knew their way around a mop and bucket? And with the deal sealed tighter than a pickle jar, Wambui sat back and watched as her empire transformed into something even bigger and better than she could have ever imagined. But amidst all the excitement and celebration, Wambui couldn't help but chuckle at the thought of Doug's face when he realized he had been outmaneuvered by the quiet, unassuming woman he underestimated at every turn. Oh, the sweet taste of victory indeed. And as she sipped her tea and watched the sunset on her cleaning empire, Wambui knew that the best was yet to come. After all, who knows what adventures await a single mom turned cleaning ninja. Cue the dramatic music and prepare for the showdown of the century. As Wambui dropped the bombshell on Doug that she was selling the business, you could practically hear the record scratch and see the cartoon-style steam coming out of his ears. Doug's reaction was about as subtle as a bull in a china shop. He stomped around like a toddler denied candy, waving his arms and spluttering like a malfunctioning sprinkler. It was like watching a soap opera unfold in real time, complete with dramatic gasps and over-the-top gestures.
Ah.
Wambui, the master of avoiding drama like it's a particularly aggressive mosquito on a hot summer's day. With the finesse of a ninja and the grace of a startled gazelle, Wambui had perfected the art of making a swift exit whenever drama reared its ugly head. Picture this: Doug, the drama llama extraordinaire, unleashing a torrent of complaints, excuses, and general nonsense, while Wambui, with a raised eyebrow and a barely concealed smirk, slips quietly out the door, leaving Doug to stew in his own melodramatic juices. As Doug's tirade reaches new heights of absurdity, Wambui can be found enjoying a well-deserved cup of tea in the next room, blissfully unaware of the chaos unfolding behind closed doors. After all, why subject yourself to the theatrical antics of an overgrown man-child when you could be enjoying the soothing sounds of Kenny G and the gentle hum of your own inner peace? And as Doug's cries echo through the halls, Wambui remains steadfast in her commitment to avoiding drama at all costs, content in the knowledge that she's dodged yet another bullet in the ongoing circus of life. For Wambui, the path to tranquility is paved with laughter, not tears, and she's more than happy to leave Doug to his own dramatic devices while she basks in the glory of drama-free living. So here's to Wambui, the undisputed champion of avoiding drama like a boss. With her quick wit, sharp tongue, and a knack for disappearing act worthy of Houdini himself, she proves that sometimes, the best way to deal with drama is to simply walk away and let the theatrics unfold without you. Cheers to Wambui, the drama-free diva we all aspire to be. But Wambui, being the cool cucumber that she was, simply raised an eyebrow and sipped her tea like a boss. After all, she had dealt with bigger challenges than Doug's temper tantrums, like negotiating deals with bigwig companies and outsmarting him at every turn. "Oh, Doug, darling," she said with a smirk, "don't get your knickers in a twist. It's just business, nothing personal." And with that, she sauntered off like a cat who had just caught the canary, leaving Doug fuming and spluttering in her wake. As she disappeared into the sunset, Wambui couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. After all, who needs drama when you've got a future to build? And with Doug's antics fading into the background like a distant memory, Wambui knew that the best was yet to come. The plot thickens faster than custard on a hot day. As Wambui basked in the glory of her successful business sale, she returned home to deliver the final blow to Doug's already bruised ego. With the swagger of a cowboy walking into a saloon, she marched straight up to him and dropped the bombshell. "It's over, Doug," she declared, her voice as firm as a freshly laid concrete slab. "And what's this about an engagement ring?" Doug's response was about as shocking as finding a pineapple on a pizza, utterly bewildering and downright absurd. With a straight face and a twinkle in his eye, he confessed that the ring was nothing more than a ploy to stake his claim on her like a dog marking his territory. Wambui's jaw practically hit the floor like a cartoon character in shock. She couldn't believe her ears. Here she was, thinking she had found love in a hopeless place, only to discover that Doug's idea of commitment was about as flimsy as a paper umbrella in a hurricane. But instead of flying off the handle like a rocket on the 4th of July, Wambui simply raised an eyebrow and let out a hearty chuckle. After all, who needs a man who treats engagement rings like cheap party favors? With a flick of her wrist and a toss of her hair, she bid Doug adieu, threw his cheap ring at him and walked away like a boss, leaving him scratching his head in confusion. And as she sipped her tea and watched the sunset on yet another chapter of her life, Wambui couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of it all. After all, who needs a fake engagement ring when you've got a real business to run and a bright future ahead? The Great Bedroom Migration, the stuff of sitcom legends. With a sigh and a shake of her head, Wambui handed Doug his check faster than a cashier at a grocery store during a rush hour sale. As he watched the money slip through his fingers like sand in an hourglass, Doug's face fell faster than a souffle in a power outage. But Wambui wasn't about to let Doug's sour attitude rain on her parade. Oh no. She had bigger fish to fry than a grumpy ex-boyfriend with delusions of grandeur. With the grace of a swan and the determination of a bulldozer, she packed up her belongings faster than a contestant on a reality TV show facing elimination. And as she settled into her new digs, aka the spare room, Wambui couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. Here she was, a single mom turned business mogul, forced to share living quarters with a man whose idea of romance was about as romantic as a root canal. But instead of wallowing in self-pity like a wildebeest caught in a mud puddle, Wambui rolled up her sleeves and got to work finding a new flat for her and her son Wangi. After all, who needs a man who thinks an engagement ring is a leash when you've got a son who's the light of your life and a future brighter than a disco ball at a rave? And as she scrolled through flat listings and sipped her tea, Wambui couldn't help but smile at the thought of the adventures that lay ahead. After all, who knows what mischief she and Wangi would get up to in their new abode. With a twinkle in her eye and a spring in her step, Wambui was ready to take on whatever life threw her way, bedroom migration and all. The life of a content single mom, a comedy of errors and a symphony of chaos. With a twinkle in her eye and a skip in her step, Wambui embraced her newfound independence like a kid in a candy store with a pocket full of cash. Gone were the days of dealing with Doug's drama and his misguided attempts at romance. Instead, Wambui relished in the simple pleasures of life, like late-night popcorn parties with Wangi and impromptu dance-offs in the living room to cheesy 80s music. Sure, there were moments of chaos, like when Wangi decided to redecorate the walls with posters, or when the cat decided to use the sofa as a scratching post, but Wambui took it all in stride like a boss. And as she navigated the ups and downs of single parenthood with the grace of a swan and the humor of a stand-up comedian, Wambui couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of it all. After all, who needs a partner when you've got a son who's the light of your life and a support network of friends and family who have your back like a well-worn mattress? So she embraced her role as a content single mom with gusto, tackling each day with a smile and a healthy dose of laughter. After all, who knows what adventures await in the wacky world of solo parenting? With Wambui at the helm, you can bet it'll be one heck of a ride. Gather around, ye doubters and naysayers, and prepare to have your preconceptions shattered like a piñata at a toddler's birthday party. For I have a tale to tell that will leave you laughing, crying, and rethinking every misguided notion you ever had about single parents and their offspring. Enter Wambui and her son Wangi, the dynamic duo of Yorkshire, whose adventures are more entertaining than a soap opera written by a caffeinated monkey. You see, despite what the skeptics may say, Wambui and Wangi prove that being a single parent and a single child is not a recipe for disaster, it's a recipe for hilarity, hijinks, and a whole lot of heart. From Wambui's knack for turning even the most mundane tasks into laugh-out-loud moments to Wangi's uncanny ability to find trouble in the most unexpected places, this dynamic duo is living proof that you don't need a traditional family unit to create a lifetime of memories. So to all the skeptics out there, I say this: take a page out of Wambui and Wangi's book and embrace the chaos, the comedy, and the sheer joy of being a single parent and child. For in their laughter-filled lives, you'll find a lesson worth learning, that love knows no bounds, and that sometimes, the best families are the ones we create for ourselves. Cheers to Wambui, Wangi, and all the single parents and children out there who prove that laughter truly is the best medicine. The tale of Wangi, the IT prodigy, a story fit for the big screen with all the thrills and spills of a Hollywood blockbuster. As Wambui watched her son finish high school and breeze through his A-levels like a hot knife through butter, she couldn't help but marvel at his potential. But when Wangi announced that he had no interest in the hallowed halls of university, Wambui's heart did a little somersault. After all, she had visions of him becoming a doctor or a lawyer, not a keyboard-wielding tech wizard. But Wambui was nothing if not supportive. After all, she knew that forcing a square peg into a round hole was about as effective as trying to fit a giraffe into a Mini Cooper. So she stood back and watched as Wangi charted his own course, armed with nothing but determination and a knack for all things IT. And wouldn't you know it, Wangi soared like a superhero in cyberspace. He landed himself an apprenticeship program faster than you can say, Ctrl+Alt+Del, and before long, he was wowing his mentors with his skills and expertise. It was like watching a caterpillar transform into a butterfly, only with more coding and fewer wings. And when the time came for Wangi to spread his wings and fly into the world of full-time employment, he did so with all the swagger of a rock star at a sold-out concert. Not only did he land himself a top-notch job, but he also walked away with a shiny new Apple laptop, the envy of geeks everywhere, as the first prize award. As Wambui watched her son achieve success in his own unique way, she couldn't help but feel a swell of pride in her chest. After all, who needs a stuffy old degree when you've got a passion for pixels and a knack for networking? With Mwangi at the helm, the future looked brighter than a screen on full brightness, full of endless possibilities and plenty of laughs along the way. Well, it seems like Mwangi was on a rocket ship to success, blasting through the ranks faster than a hot knife through butter. As he ascended the corporate ladder with the grace of a ninja and the charm of a smooth-talking salesman, it was like watching a high-speed game of Tetris, except Mwangi was stacking up job offers instead of colorful blocks. With each new job offer, Mwangi's confidence soared higher than a balloon at a birthday party. It was like he had a magic touch, a Midas touch, if you will, turning every opportunity into pure gold. And as he strutted into each new workplace with the swagger of a seasoned pro, it was clear that Mwangi was destined for greatness. But what truly set Mwangi apart wasn't just his impressive resume or his knack for acing interviews, it was his infectious personality and his ability to win over even the toughest of bosses with his charm and wit. It was like watching a magician at work, pulling job offers out of his hat like rabbits at a magic show. And as Mwangi continued to climb the corporate ladder faster than a squirrel up a tree, it became clear that he was no ordinary IT whiz, he was a force to be reckoned with, a legend in the making, a veritable unicorn in a sea of donkeys. So here's to Mwangi, the king of job offers, the master of success, the sultan of Silicon Valley. With him at the helm, the sky's the limit, and who knows what adventures await in the wild and wacky world of corporate shenanigans. One thing's for sure, with Mwangi leading the charge, it's bound to be one heck of a ride. Well, looks like Mwangi wasn't just climbing the corporate ladder, he was practically pole vaulting over it like an Olympic champion on turbo boost. With the finesse of a cat burglar and the tenacity of a bulldog, he applied for a higher role with not one, not two, but 8 different companies, all while still holding down a job. Talk about multitasking. And wouldn't you know it, he didn't just get one offer, he got all 8. It was like watching a game of musical chairs, except instead of chairs, it was job offers, and instead of music, it was the sweet sound of Mwangi's success echoing through the halls of every office in town. With each new job offer, Mwangi's pace skyrocketed faster than a SpaceX rocket headed for Mars. It was like winning the lottery, only better, because instead of a one-time payout, he was securing himself a golden ticket to financial freedom and job security for years to come. But as Mwangi basked in the glory of his newfound success, he couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. After all, who needs one job offer when you can have 8? It was like a buffet of opportunities, and Mwangi was feasting like a king at a medieval banquet. So here's to Mwangi, the master of job offers, the king of corporate conquests, the undisputed champion of the employment world. With him leading the charge, there's no telling what heights he'll reach next, whether it's climbing Mount Everest or reaching the pinnacle of corporate success. One thing's for sure, Mwangi is a force to be reckoned with, and the world better watch out. Love was in the air for Mwangi, and he didn't just catch it, he snagged it like a pro angler reeling in the catch of the day. Before Wambui could even say, matchmaker, make me a match, her son had met a lovely lady from Street Lucia and tied the knot faster than you can say, I do. And wouldn't you know it, before Wambui could even dust off her best hat for the wedding, Mwangi and his new bride were already starting a family faster than you can say, baby on board. It was like watching a soap opera unfold in fast forward, with plot twists and turns aplenty. But Wambui couldn't have been happier for her son and his new family. After all, what's not to love about 2 adorable granddaughters and a daughter-in-law straight out of a romance novel? It was like winning the grand prize in the family lottery, with love and laughter filling the air like confetti at a carnival. Wambui's embrace, and as Wambui welcomed her new daughter-in-law and her family into the fold with open arms and a heart full of joy, she couldn't help but marvel at the beauty of it all. Who knew that one chance encounter could lead to a lifetime of happiness and fulfillment? So here's to Mwangi and his lovely wife from St. Lucia, to their 2 bundles of joy, and to Wambui, the proud grandmother with a heart as big as the African savanna. With her family by her side, there's nothing Wambui can't conquer. Wambui, the queen of relationship roulette, spinning the wheel of love with all the gusto of a gambler at a Vegas casino. But alas, it seemed that every time she placed her bets, she ended up with a losing hand, 2 Caucasian men, 2 different flavors of toxic, and 0 jackpots in sight. Then, there was Bob, the walking disaster zone, a tornado of chaos and calamity wherever he went. It was like dating a hurricane, except hurricanes at least come with a warning. Bob would blow his own head if it wasn't screwed on, and Wambui spent more time playing nurse than girlfriend. Talk about a relationship with more drama than a soap opera marathon. But as Wambui surveyed the wreckage of her romantic misadventures, she couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity of it all. Who knew that love could be such a wild roller coaster ride, with more twists and turns than a pretzel factory? So here's to Wambui, the survivor of the dating apocalypse, the conqueror of toxic relationships, and the queen of self-preservation. With her heart safely locked away in a metaphorical vault, she's ready to face whatever life throws her way, whether it's love, laughter, or a good old-fashioned dose of chaos. After all, who needs men when you've got a sense of humor as sharp as a knife and a spirit as resilient as a rubber band? Well, it seems like Wambui is ready to trade in the hustle and bustle of the business world for the tranquility of home sweet home in Kenya. With her trusty suitcase packed full of dreams and her sense of adventure tucked firmly under her arm, she's ready to embark on the next chapter of her life, a chapter filled with laughter, love, and maybe just a little bit of mischief. But let's not forget the real reason behind Wambui's grand adventure, her dear old mum. With her mum getting up there in years, Wambui knows it's time to swap the boardroom for the living room, the spreadsheets for the sunshine, and the conference calls for cozy chats over a cup of tea. After all, family comes first. Mum is up there at the #1 spot with Mwangi, daughter-in-law and grandbabies. And as Wambui sets her sights on the horizon, she can't help but chuckle at the thought of leaving behind the chaos of corporate life for the serenity of the Kenyan city life. Goodbye. Endless meetings and never-ending emails, hello, lazy afternoons under the African sun and evenings filled with laughter around the dinner table. So here's to Wambui, the queen of reinvention, the mistress of adventure, and the champion of family first. With her heart full of love and her spirit as bright as the African sky, there's no telling what new adventures await her in the land of lions and leopards. After all, as they say in Kenya, Hakuna Matata, no worries, just endless possibilities. And so, dear friends, as we bid adieu to our beloved Wambui, we can't help but smile at the whirlwind of adventures, misadventures, and downright hilarious moments that have filled her journey. From the trials and tribulations of single motherhood to the roller coaster ride of love and romance, Wambui has faced it all with grace, humor, and a healthy dose of sarcasm. Through the ups and downs, the twists and turns, Wambui has remained a shining beacon of resilience, determination, and downright stubbornness. She's danced through the rainstorms of life with a smile on her face and a twinkle in her eye, proving that laughter truly is the best medicine, even when the world seems determined to throw lemons at her every step of the way. So here's to Wambui, the queen of comedic calamities, the duchess of delightful disasters, and the undisputed champion of turning life's lemons into lemonade. May her journey be filled with joy, laughter, and just a hint of mischief, as she navigates the twists and turns of life with the grace and wit of a true Kenyan queen. And remember, dear friends, in the words of Wambui herself, when life gives you lemons, make sure you've got plenty of sugar and a splash of gin. After all, laughter is the best medicine, and Wambui has enough of it to share with the whole world. Cheers to Wambui, the queen of comedy, and may her adventures never cease to entertain and inspire us all.